I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Watch me grow, live strawberry seed. Was within me all along. Just needed space to sing my song. It'll all work out. Just trust the process.
Hello everyone. This is definitely a different setting than I'm normally in, and not really in professional wear, but anywho, what inspired this video was I kind of saw a Facebook post of someone looking for play therapy in a really tragic situation, and I really started thinking about the why behind why play therapy is appropriate for kids. And that seems like a random connection, but I feel like there are people who seek play therapy, right? And then I do have some parents who bring their kids to play therapy, which is really courageous in itself. But then sometimes I think all of us get stuck on well, how is this helping kids? Because it does just seem like play. And, as adults, we go into therapy and we sit on a couch and we might process by talking or having our emotions or reality questioned or challenged. And so sometimes it's easy to think that's what our kiddos need. However, I just kind of wanted to talk about why child-centered play therapy today is appropriate for kiddos in terms of their development. So let's kind of jump right in. So what do we know about kids? We know that kids have developmental stages. There's a theorist called Jean Piaget. Piaget broke down development into about 4 stages. The sensory motor stage, which happens from 0 to 2 years old, where little babies are exploring using their senses, mainly. That's why babies are always putting stuff in their mouth. Then we have the pre-operational stage, which occurs from 2 to 7 years old. So this is when the kids are starting to develop some language, they use symbols, very egocentric, right? They can only see their point of view. And then from 7 to 11, kids move into the 3rd stage, which is concrete operational. So they start to think more logically. They start to really understand conversations more. Anything that is concrete. And then the last stage is they reach the formal operation stage, which happens from 12 years old all the way up to adolescence and adulthood. And what makes this stage different is now kids can think in terms of abstract and hypotheticals. They could think about the future and they could think about moral issues. Child-centered play therapy is typically recommended for kiddos. Sometimes you'll see 3 to 10. Sometimes I've seen people say 2 to 12. But anything basically below 11 or 12. Why? Because under that age, kids cannot or typically don't have abstract thinking or reasoning. And if we think about language and words and conversations, that's very abstract. If we're just talking to a kid, often we're talking about the past or the future. Or if we're asking some kind of therapeutic question we might be asking an adult, it's very abstract. It's about feelings or experiences. And that's very hard to make concrete. And so for a kiddo, they almost need something they can use in the moment to make their experience concrete. And what that is in play therapy is the toys. The kind of time-old saying is the toys are their words, the play is their language. And that is how they're communicating. Even if you have a really articulate, 7-year-old who's presenting as really mature for their age and can hold a conversation, right? They still can't wrap their head around some abstract thinking. And for kids that young, if you ask them why they feel that way, or to kind of process verbally, they might not know why, and they might not be able to. And we're kind of in that situation demanding they come up to the adult level and process emotions on our level instead of us accommodating them and dropping down to their level in the play. Think of the play as making everything that's abstract, their emotions, their experiences, whatever they're struggling with, the play is going to make it concrete, so hands-on, something that's tangible, that can be malleable, changed, and it's also going to make it present-focused. Kids very much think present-focused, if we think about it. You know, have you ever tried explaining to your 5-year-old when their birthday is? And they're like, okay, so my birthday's now. No, it's in a couple weeks, honey. Isn't my birthday yet? And they can't wrap their head around those future concepts. So that's kind of reason number one why we do child-centered play therapy, is if we're looking at a child's development, it is appropriate. Number two, kind of reason number two that child-centered play therapy is appropriate is play has benefits. Play is spontaneous, right? Play does not have adult rules. Kids play naturally. Play is actually really healing, right? It is releasing endorphins in the body. Sometimes it's releasing relaxation hormones or excitement hormones. Play can be soothing. If we think about adults as well, some of the most therapeutic stuff we could do is play. I think of adults who enjoy painting or gardening or enjoy, going out with their friends and having a laugh. That's adults playing. It looks different, and sometimes that can bring us out of a bad mood, but now we're just thinking about it in terms of kids. The last reason I kind of have for why child-centered play therapy is appropriate for kids is maybe my own opinion, but I think about kids and having to sit in school all day. They're having to follow a lot of directions. They're really having to behave and adapt, right? And then we have a lot of our kids in extracurricular activities, which is great for them. But even in sometimes extracurricular activities, it's structured. There's expectations. You have to behave. You have to, again, adapt. So in a child's world nowadays, there's all these adults that are kind of structuring their world and making decisions for them and choices for them. And if you're a kid, sometimes that can really feel out of control and like you have no power, or can be very anxiety producing. But in play, the child is in charge. The child's creating their world. There's no structure. There really is no expectations or no right or wrong way. It is free. It is expression. It is being a kid. And sometimes we forget our kids need that. And sometimes we forget as adults we need that freedom to play as well. Instead of perform. So this was kind of a tangent, kind of a ramble, a bit unorganized, but I don't know, I just really felt compelled to kind of dive into why child-centered play therapy really is recommended and really is appropriate for our kiddos. And so if you've ever considering it for your kid and you're unsure about it, hopefully this video reaches you. And even if you don't have a kid, hopefully this video reaches you and you start playing more.